Do I still believe that Quant could hypothetically go to the price of $5,000 during this bull run? The answer is yes. I haven't given up when it comes to Quant. I haven't forgotten about it. And even though nothing I say is financial advice, the way you take a look at Quant is that yes, it hasn't been doing the best. But a bunch of altcoins as of right now, they're not doing that good either. Now, granted, when it comes to the past year, the past year and a half, has Quant performed the best? No, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it won't perform good moving forward because, in my opinion, this bull run is far from over. Historically speaking, we do know that usually altcoins, as a worst case scenario, they peak 18 months after a Bitcoin halving event. Now, the last Bitcoin halving event happened back in April of last year, so 18 months would actually mean around October this year. I still think there's plenty of time. I still do believe that Quant has a lot to prove. And I do think that when it comes to something this amazing, it's going to be a big narrative in my opinion, but it's just a matter of time. Things usually, in my opinion, start waking up when we least expect it to do so, at least in the space currently, which is why I'm preparing myself for that by acquiring more Quant on a consistent basis. Now, why would I do this? Because some people like to say that, Quant's a bad project, but it's not, because in my opinion, even though nowadays a lot of developers are choosing to build applications on only just one blockchain, I think there could be a big narrative shift moving forward in a sense that there could be this, large presence, I would say, when it comes to developers wanting to build applications on multiple blockchains instead of just one. Now, what is something that could very well facilitate that? That's something like the Quant network through something called the Overledger OS. Now, you may be thinking, okay, why would anyone want to build on more than just one blockchain? Like, why would that even be beneficial? It's because just think about this logically. If let's say, I build on just Ethereum, let's say for instance, yeah, sure, it could be great, but there's some drawbacks there, right? Sometimes people may not like, certain factors of it. Like, for instance, the gas fees or the scalability issues. But this doesn't only just apply to Ethereum. There's a bunch of other, layer one blockchains where people don't really want to deal with the drawbacks, even though the upside could be good. Now, again, traditionally, people were kind of stuck building only just one blockchain. But through the Overledger OS, this could all change, which is one of the two components that does make up the Quant network. The other one is the Overledger network, which I'm going to get into a little bit later on in the video. But even besides that, again, the Overledger OS allows multi-chain applications to be built. And again, like I mentioned before, these are applications that are built on top of multiple blockchains and not just one. Now, again, why could this be beneficial? It's because let's think about this logically. If let's say again, I want to build an application, it's much better if we take advantage of multiple blockchains, in my opinion. Like, for instance, I can build an application through the Overledger OS, let's say, for instance, right, in a make-believe scenario, that takes advantage of the Bitcoin blockchain, which we all know is known for its rock-solid security due to its proof-of-work nature. Now, on the flip side, Bitcoin's not that fast, right? Many people would argue because there's faster alternatives. Now, what could be something else that we take advantage when it comes to the speed? That is the Stellar blockchain. Now, people love Stellar, right? People also know it as XLM in some cases. But even besides that, the Stellar blockchain is lightning fast. It's very fantastic. So imagine if I can build an application that takes advantage of Bitcoin's rock-solid security and the Stellar blockchain's lightning fast speed. Could you imagine that? That's a total game changer. But then again, not many developers are, in my opinion, willing to do this, right? Or willing to latch onto this. Now, why is that? It's because I think anything revolutionary, I think anything very interesting usually takes time. And I think that when it comes to this, I think it's going to age like fine wine. I think it's going to get better over time. However, only time will tell. But in my opinion, this could be a big narrative because people usually care about the narrative as opposed to current adoption. And I think when people take a look at stuff like this, especially once the market starts recovering, once we begin that next stage of Bitcoin going to 150,000, 200,000, maybe even beyond, I do believe that when it comes to something like Quant, it could be a big narrative, but only time will tell. Now, what is the other part that makes up the Quant network? That is something called the Overledger network, which is made up of the Overledger OS users. And on there, these Overledger OS users, they can share their data, their apps, their resources, and monetize them. So that's really good. So when I take a look at Quant, it's a very simple and easy to understand project. I mean, literally, I think it takes like 5 minutes to understand what it's all about. And I think this is a big bonus because other projects out there, when I try to understand what they're all about, sometimes they're very simple in nature. Like, let's say sometimes they're just like a DeFi project or like an NFT project, but then they try to overcomplicate things for no reason. I think that's very unnecessary. For what, right? That's really pointless. Trying to confuse people for no reason in some cases, I just don't get why some projects want to do that. It just makes no sense. But even besides that, when I take a look at something like Quant, again, very simple and easy to understand, not to mention, supply is very rare. Bitcoin's maximum supply is 21 million, which granted is very impressive, but Quant, depending on the site or exchange, is actually around like 14.6 to around 14.8 million. So again, it's a totally night and day difference. Now, it doesn't really mean much. Some people may think that if, let's say, something is rare, but not many people want it. But when I take a look at the fundamentals of Quant, I just don't get why this won't be a big narrative. At least that's personally for me. I think it's a very revolutionary project. Hasn't been doing the best, right? Again, over the past year, let's say, and even as of recently, but still, as of recently, more specifically, a bunch of altcoins are not doing well either. But I think that really Quant is going to have its time to shine. Now, who is another person that could very well think that 2025 could be special? Take a look at Charles Hoskinson, who is the co-founder of Ethereum and the founder of Cardano. He predicts that, based on a video that he was a part of back in November last year, that in the next 1 or 2 years, he said that he could very well see Bitcoin reaching anywhere between $250,000 all the way up to $500,000. So just imagine that, right? His best case scenario timeline, a year. So that's November this year. Let's say we assume his best case scenario timeline and worst case scenario price target. Could you imagine if, let's say, November this year, Bitcoin reaches $250,000? Quant at the price of $5,000, really? Would that seem that impossible? I don't think so, hypothetically, because keep in mind, if it were to go to the price of $5,000, considering current circulating supply, market cap would be around $60 billion. This is like peanuts. And by the way, this is around a 52x from here. But even besides that, when you take a look at this, why isn't this too much to ask for? Dogecoin at one point reached over $80 billion in market cap back in 2021. Even XRP, as of right now, has a market cap of over $100 billion. So I don't think that this is really that crazy. Now, people may think, oh yeah, Dogecoin reached that in 2021, and 2021 is better than right now. Well, here's the thing. The way to take a look at it is that actually during the peak of this bull run, it could look more special than back then, theoretically at least, because back then, right, in the 2021 bull run, during the peak of that, there was roughly around 300 million crypto owners. Now, again, according to Crypto.com research, there's over 600 million crypto owners, more than ever before in history. Really, this could be special, but it's just a waiting game. It's like a test of patience, really. Now, people may think that, oh yeah, it's taking too long. Some people want to leave, and that's totally their choice if they want to do that. But I want to wait and see, because I made it this far. I'm not going to quit, because let's say we have the $5,000 price prediction. Let's say 2,500. Is that right there is still over a 25x from here. I mean, just imagine that. Really, anything over a 10x, in my opinion, is already very impressive. So I don't see why this is a bad pick for me. Now, no one has to follow what I'm doing, but I'm just saying, this is a no-brainer pick for me. And again, anytime I do an income, I'm acquiring, I'm holding, and I'm just waiting. That's it, because I do believe in its future, and I'm not going to give up when it comes to Quant. And I still have the hypothetical idea that it could hypothetically reach the price of $5,000 during this bull run. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. Greatly appreciate it. It's Malik the Captain. I'll catch you all on the next one. I'm a peace. Bye.